I remember the person I was when I was thinner. I remember carefree and just easygoing and just get up and go and not have any issues or problems. And I wanted to be that person again. And the most important thing is I felt like I needed to go through emotional change as well to kind of put that person that I was, because I really felt ashamed of who that person was. Get all cry, but because I let myself get so out of control. And I can look back and not remember how I actually got there. But remembering, I never want to go back. So each milestone, each pound, each inch that I lost, I felt like I was shedding a part of who I was, covering up from who I was before. So for me, for the surgery, it was a very traumatic thing, emotionally, because I felt like I stole my life. Stole it from my husband, and I felt like I almost had him in prison for all those years of our marriage.
You know, the person is always depressed and angry and negative, and you live your life by yourself. But then there comes a point of time where you make the decision and you go through the process. Now you're watching them drop the weight. Now you're seeing outfits come out of the closet that you haven't seen in years, and you're seeing their zest for life, so to speak, come back.
As we got married, got into our careers, weight just started gradually coming on every year, year after year. And 10 years later, I was, 7, 8 sizes bigger. So before bariatric surgery, when I was at my heaviest, something as simple as going out to eat. If I had to sit in a booth, would I fit? Where were the chairs? And if I sat down, was my butt hanging over, and were people looking at me and like, that lady should be ordering a salad and not, ordering whatever she has. Whatever infomercial was on, I was buying it, trying it. Nothing seemed to give the results like you would want, and especially being so overweight. And every year I'd lose some weight and then I'd put it all back on and then some. And so it started accumulating that way. Tried a personal trainer, tried a gym, tried different things, but those things started to get more and more difficult as you got to be bigger. And so doing all the different diets that I did, I probably spent thousands and thousands of dollars on diets. It just got to a point that nothing was sticking, and it wasn't working. I wasn't getting the results I needed. And if I did get some results, I even went as far as saw a doctor and getting diet pills, like prescribed diet pills, and then trying that. And you got the minimal results for a few weeks, few months, but then that was it. And then, if you stop taking that or stop doing that thing, you end up putting the weight back on. Well, my husband and I had several miscarriages previous years. Nobody ever said it was attributed to weight, and believe me, I questioned and answered, tried to pin them down and say, is this because I was overweight? No, they really couldn't figure that out. And so one of my goals was to have a family, and I didn't want to be that mom that couldn't sit on the swing set, that couldn't wear a bathing suit and go swimming with her kid at the pool, that couldn't play with her kid, that have her kid be totally embarrassed when she got to a certain age, that that's my mom and she's huge, and be embarrassed, because kids can look at their parents like that, and I didn't want to do that to a child. So one of the things is that once we started considering having a family, I realized I needed to have this surgery. I have a couple family members that have had bariatric surgery. The first person was my sister, and she came and stayed with my husband and I actually got to watch her up close and personal start losing weight. And I ended up putting on 25 pounds. And I told my husband, I said, I'm so sick of this. And he looked at me and said, well, have you considered the bariatric? And I think it was a sigh of relief, because I think the misconception people have is it's the easy way out. And I actually thought people were going to think I'm cheating or I took the easy way out. And in the end, I just realized I'm getting the results I wanted from all the other diets that I never got.
Lisa looked into a lot of weight loss procedures before surgery. Lisa is very motivated, educated, and asks a lot of fantastic questions. Ultimately, though, she decided on gastric bypass. She was probably the most intimately aware of this procedure because many of her family members had had gastric bypass. She did do her due diligence, though, and look at other procedures. Ultimately, though, I believe she felt the most comfortable with the gastric bypass and could relate with that, and was enamored by how well her family members had done with this operation.
So I had a working knowledge of Dr. Z just from my sister because she had had it, and his bedside manner makes the experience at Summa. There's something about Dr. Z's personality and the level of excellence that he expects from his staff and from people in the OR to the recovery that he expects out of them that makes the experience so worth it. And that's why he's the surgeon that he is, because he cares, and his personality comes out in his wanting to help you succeed. You really just feel it. So when you come out of the office and seeing him, you're like, oh my gosh. You're like, that guy's like my own personal cheerleader. You're like, you wish you could take him home in your back pocket because he's totally cheering you on and wishing that you are successful.
What's important is understanding that you can either be part of the problem or part of the solution. And for me, I was never going to be part of the problem because she was my wife. No matter if how heavy she was or how thin, that wasn't the issue. But what I saw was the pain that she was going through. And I saw it as my responsibility to her and our commitment to help her through this. So when you commit to this and you make that choice to do the surgery, you're doing it as a couple, and you're being committed to it, and you're being committed to the discipline of it, but you're also enjoying the results with your partner.
Lisa's doing great. Lisa has lost a tremendous amount of weight. Her aches and pains are gone. She is very active, both outdoors and indoors. Her sleep apnea is gone. She no longer has to sleep with a machine at night to help her breathe correctly. Her heartburn has improved, and her overall health is fantastic. Most importantly, and for both her and her husband and her family, is she successfully had a baby.
Life now is awesome because, one, I'm thinner. I can do a lot more. We go on vacation every year now. We love Disney World, so we go there all the time. I have my child, and she is the biggest blessing. I look at her every day and say, if I hadn't had bariatric surgery, you would not be here. Because one of the first things that corrects itself after bariatric surgery is your reproductive. So as many people had said it wasn't because I was overweight, I have to believe that because I was so overweight that once I lost weight and I was able to conceive a child, carry it to term without a miscarriage, without any issues or complications, that essentially bariatric fixed that for me. And I think about that every time I look at her and think about, what my life would be like without her, because after having bariatric surgery, all these doors and possibilities opened up. I got a new job, I got a promotion, I had a child, things just started happening. My outlook on life was a lot better. I didn't walk around with such doom and gloom and worrying about just how you look, where you're going, how you're gonna sit somewhere, what are people saying about you. And so being thinner is definitely better. It's healthier, but it's also, you have an attitude adjustment. Once you have this surgery, you just feel better about yourself. You have a better outlook, you're happier. You look at things with fresher eyes instead of such doom and gloom. When I look at pictures of from before, I say, oh my gosh. I realized the person that person was, and I never want to be that person again. So the bariatric surgery to me saved my life, but emotionally also saved my life, from the hell I was in.